We're now going to find the next few term values of a non-linear sequence without having to get the nth term formula. Instead, we're going to look at each term value in the sequence and see if we can get a simple rule that allows us to move from one term value to the other one. Okay, so if we look at example 1 part A, so the sequence is 18, 17, 14 and 9. So the sequence is clearly going down, the term values are getting less. But it's not a linear sequence because it's not going down by the same amount. We're subtracting 1, we're subtracting 3, we're subtracting 5. So it's definitely not linear. So instead, what we do is we move from one term value to the other and we write down what's happening. So to get from 18 to 17, we subtract 1. To get from 17 to 14, we're subtracting 3. To get from 14 to 9, we're subtracting 5. So you can see a pattern is emerging in that we subtract the next odd number each time. So we subtract 1, then we subtract 3, then we subtract 5. So the next time round we're going to subtract 7. So 9 subtract 7 is going to give us 2. And then to get the final term, we're going to subtract the next odd number. So subtract the next odd number, we're subtracting 9. And then 2 subtract 9 is going to leave us on minus 7. So the simple rule is subtract the next odd number each time. So our final answer then, the next two terms are 2 and minus 7. Okay, really straightforward. So that's all we're doing. We're just using common sense here instead of trying to get the nth term formula. Okay, part B then. Again, we have another non-linear sequence. This sequence appears to be getting bigger, but we're not going up by the same amount. We're adding on 2. Then we're adding 3, then we're adding 4. So it's definitely not a linear sequence, it's non-linear. So again, let's try and come up with a rule. So to get from 5 to 7, well, you would add 2. To get from 7 to 10, you would add 3. To get from 10 to 14, you would add 4. So common sense is telling us that, well, we have to add on the next whole number each time. So to get the next term value in the sequence, we're going to add on 5. So 14 plus 5 is going to give us 19. And then to get the next term again, we're adding on the next whole number. So we're going to add on 6. So 19 plus 6 is going to give us 25. So the little rule there is just simply add the next whole number each time. So our final answer, next two terms are 19 and 25. Okay, example C. Now, again, this is a non-linear sequence. It's not going up by the same amount each time. It appears to be going up by 1. Then it's going up by 4. then it's going up by 5. So there doesn't appear to be a pattern. We're going up by 1, then we're going up by 4, and then we're going up by 5. So immediately this gets a bit difficult. However, if you spot that, if you add the previous two term values together, you get the next one. So 4 plus 5 will give you 9. If you add 5 plus 9, that's going to give you 14. So then if you add 14 plus 9, that's going to give us 23. And then if you add 23 and 14 together, you're going to get 37. So that's quite tricky. So the rule there is you add the previous two term values to get the next term value. That's what's happening. So 9 is found by adding 4 and 5. 14 is found by adding 9 and 5. And then obviously 23 is found by adding 14 and 9. And then 37 is found by adding 23 and 14. So our final answer then, the next two terms are 23 and 37. And that's it. So that's all we're doing. We're just using a simple rule. We're using common sense to allow us to move from one term value to the next without having to find an nth term formula.